there, when did you come in? Oh, I'm reading Breaking and Entering, From Auditions to Agents to a Career by Philip Carlson. I guess he's an important guy. Have you heard it? No, okay. Well, yeah, I like it. Although, you know, a lot of people sell books, workshops, classes, you name it. Can run from a couple of dollars to thousands of dollars just to break into the industry. Of course, people wake up one day and they decide, hey, I love acting. Hey, I can do that. Hey, I can cry on command. I'm funny. I'm beautiful. My mother always said that I'd be a star. You see, what a lot of people don't know is that acting, it's a business, just like any other business. And just like lawyers go to law school, and then I don't know what else they do, besides rack up those thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loans, they have to train for many years. They have to intern. True story. I almost went to law school a couple of times, but I just couldn't get past the LSAT. That's a story for another day. But hey, I thought 2021 is ending, 2022 is right around the corner, and hey, I'm feeling pretty generous these days. I don't know. It feels good to give back. So I thought, after spending almost a decade in this industry, why not tell you how I started from no experience to where I'm at today. So if you have an hour, I don't know, maybe less, I can tell you all about it. Come on. I'm a little bit too lazy. 1 second. My paintbrush. So let's get started. You want to be an actor, and all your life you've been told, hey, you can be an actor. They're doing it. Why can't you? Well, I'm here to tell you that it is possible, but it is very competitive. It's a mixture of a little bit of luck, who you know, your training, being in the right market, the right place at the right time, not giving up, and having perseverance. So, let me tell you how you can start an acting career in 2022. Number 1, join an acting class. And I think this is the biggest and best kept secret. I mean, it's not even a secret. This is the biggest piece of advice that I can tell anybody who's just starting out in the industry. I know right now, during these times, a lot of acting classes are done over Zoom, and that's okay. Until things settle down, no one knows when that will be. It's totally fine to just do an online class. The really good thing about acting classes being offered online, if you live in a rural part of the country, say you're living in a small town in a state, you can start out anywhere. You can start getting that experience without having to be in the city or where your acting class is located. A really good class will let you audit for free, meaning they will let you join via Zoom, or if it's in person, join for free just to test it out. Nobody wants to be in a class or an environment that doesn't work out for them and it's not a good fit. If you're looking for classes, make sure that you ask the instructor if you're able to do this. A really good sign will be the teacher allowing you to audit for free. How do you find an acting class? Just Google it. Acting classes near me. Acting classes in Denver. Acting classes in wherever you are. Make sure that you read the reviews. Really pay attention to what they're saying. Another good place to find an acting class and also ask about people's experience is by joining Facebook groups. You can always ask for recommendations on what type of classes people are taking, and they are more than happy to answer this question. Also, because a lot of times acting teachers will be involved in the acting Facebook groups, and it's in their best interest for their business to tell you all about them. When you find that acting class, be prepared to spend a couple of $100s per month. I mean, this is your training. One thing that I was able to do throughout my training was trade a skill or service in exchange for an acting class, and I was able to save money or even take the class for free when I was going through a rough patch in my career or my life, and I couldn't afford a couple of $100s a month. So if you've been following my last video, I mentioned that I had a cleaning company in Colorado, and I also started one here in New Mexico. Back then, I was able to offer my services cleaning the studio, also cleaning my acting teacher's home in exchange for free classes. So that worked out. And you can do that too. You can get creative. If you don't have a couple of $100s to start off with, think about what skill or service you bring to the table. I've known actors who exchange website designs, cleaning as I mentioned, editing, being a personal assistant to the acting teacher, or offering a class to accommodate the acting studio. Say you're really good with singing lessons or voiceover. You could try to get a deal around offering your classes for free in exchange for your classes with the teacher. Things to look out for. An acting class should be a great place for you to just practice your skill. It's also a place where you can feel welcomed, encouraged, and feel like if you fail, it's just part of the process. You won't be shamed, you'll be encouraged, and you'll grow from it. Try to find an acting class where the teacher has had some sort of training or has a lot of experience in the industry in general. And it should be a place where you have time to get up and practice. Or if you're doing it online, you can have some time to go over any project monologue or even questions that you may have. And it doesn't rush, or it isn't a place where the teacher just talks about themselves and their time in the industry. Because nobody wants a teacher who's just using this environment to exaggerate and just use it as a time to talk about themselves and when they were in the industry, and then you try to find them in the so-called movies they were in and they never were part of it. You want to find a teacher who's connected to the community. Somebody who knows the agencies, the photographers, the directors, other students, and just is really well connected to the film industry in your local community. And like I mentioned, you don't have to start out being in LA or New York, Atlanta, or any other market. You can start your career in any market. If you do live in a rural place, understand and be aware that eventually you're gonna have to move. But do know that if you have no experience, expect to spend about 6 months to a year just building that beginning foundation. You need to commit. You need to work. You need to show up, ready to learn, take criticism, and just being serious about your acting class experience. Treat it like a job or like you're in school getting a degree. An acting class is going to help you overcome any insecurities, stage fright, or confidence issues. You're going to need to start building thick skin and be able to be open to criticism and rejection. Okay, so you found the perfect class. The next step, number 2, is to join Facebook groups. Join Facebook groups related to acting, the film industry, jobs, auditions, networking, and such. Number 3, and this is kind of a side note, if you are someone who lives in a rural small town, start making a plan now to eventually move to a bigger market. What does that look like? First of all, you're gonna have to save up money for your move. Be prepared to save more money if you're moving to the bigger markets. But this really does depend on who you are, who you may already know that lives in that city, how much debt you have, if you already have a car, if you're really good with money, if you're okay living out of your car, stuff like that. But ideally, save up for any expenses related to housing, security deposit, first and last month's rent, groceries, car maintenance. Maybe have like 3 months of just backup savings until you find a job, a gym membership, acting classes, headshots, and other business-related expenses. Okay, so you're doing your acting class and you have a 9-to-5 job. Great, don't quit just yet. Most classes can be taken in the evenings, some on the weekends. Try to make a plan now to transition out of your 9-to-5 job when you're ready. I would say in the next year, because remember, once you sign with an agent, you're gonna have to be as flexible as possible to do all of the auditions that they send over to you and also do all the jobs that you book. You're gonna need a very flexible schedule, which reminds me, the best flexible jobs for you as an actor or as a creative, in my opinion, are serving and bartending, being an Uber or Lyft driver, Instacart, Shipt, cleaning in the evenings for apartments or office buildings, security for overnight or evening, being a barista in the morning, being a housekeeper on apps like handy.com, or being a brand ambassador. There are plenty more out there and you can always create your own, but these are just some easy, traditional, and proven jobs that you can just jump. As I was saying, all of these jobs can be survival jobs and you can jump right into them whenever you need to. All right, number 5, start building a resume and demo reel. There are a lot of good examples, there are a lot of good resources online for what an acting resume looks like. Just know that an acting resume is going to be completely different from your regular 9-to-5 or just like regular employment resume. And a demo reel is going to be a reel that has a bunch of your acting examples together in less than 3 minutes or even less than a minute, depending on who you're asking. This can consist of clips that you have from the jobs that you have been booking, whether that's student films or background, although that's pretty rare, unless it's background related to like a project that showcases, you know, that has you out in the open. Otherwise, you really want to stick to clips that showcase your acting abilities, and also stay away from posting clips that have all the attention on another actor that you had a scene with. You don't want that. If you don't have acting clips at this point, here's the good news. You can start networking with classmates from your acting class because they're going to be able to vouch for any acting opportunities or jobs that are available or that people are looking to fill. You're also going to want to look at Facebook groups, the ones that you signed up for, because these are going to be dedicated to also casting projects. They're going to be posting on auditions or other things that you can do. And the last bit of advice is that you can always write and create your own stuff. There's no rule against this when you're starting out, especially in a small market. As long as you write something for you that showcases your talent, you're fine. You already most likely have a phone that has editing software that you can just whip up. That's the beauty about technology right now. Side note, Craigslist, although it can be sketchy, sometimes it does have a couple of legitimate casting postings that I personally have found opportunities from. It's just all in you knowing what you're getting yourself into and asking all the right questions and also being aware of what they're asking for. Okay, number 6. It's time to start looking for a good headshot photographer. Do not take headshot photos from a friend who specializes in corporate portraits or wedding photography, even if that means saving a couple of $100s. And yes, a good headshot photographer is going to charge a couple of $100s up to $1,000 in some cases. It really depends. Just know that a headshot photographer is going to know what acting agencies and casting directors and what the industry is looking for versus someone who's never been a part of that world. And you'll need to invest a couple of $100s into it. If you don't know what type of wardrobe to bring to your session, a good headshot photographer will have a list laid out for you on what type of outfits to bring, what to avoid, what to think about for your different characters, and stuff like that. Really good questions that get you prepared. You can always also ask your acting teacher or acting classmates on what they recommend. Number 7, start looking for really good monologues that showcase your particular talents. A good comedic monologue and a good dramatic monologue to start off. You're gonna want to memorize and workshop those monologues to have in your pocket for your potential agency meeting. Most times, potential agencies will want to see what they're working with when they are trying to determine if somebody will be a good fit for their roster. Other times, they're not even gonna bother. Sometimes, they'll have scenes for you to perform and you'll have to use your skills to do a cold reading. Just be prepared for any possibility. Here's a good tip. Film yourself performing your monologues. Then you'll have 2 clips to add to your demo reel if you don't have any footage. That way, you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Number 8, start researching agencies that are in your city. When you're ready and you already filled out a couple of projects on your resume, you have a couple of clips on your demo reel, you have headshots or looking to get headshots, now is the time to start researching agencies in your city or in your state. Things to look out for: a good reputation, an agency that doesn't have your particular type. Write down what type of talent they already represent. Write down any unique characteristics, and also write down what you would bring to the table if you were represented by them. What unique gifts do you bring? Take a look at their submission process. This will more than likely be on every single website. A lot of times, agents will use this process to test out potential actors. So they'll test you on whether you can follow the rules for their submission guidelines. And they'll determine, is this person going to be trouble, or is this person going to follow the rules and potentially follow the rules when they book a job. And they're not wrong. Take note on whether they represent some of your acting friends, because if you ask nicely, more than likely these acting friends can write you a really good letter of recommendation. You also want to get one from your acting teacher or a director that you did a project for. And that's okay if it's a student who cast you as their lead for a short film. Just make sure that it's a genuine letter of recommendation that outlines your talents. Be aware of the time of the year that you are going to submit to them. Don't submit to potential agencies during the holiday or during the busy season, whatever that looks like for that specific market. You don't want to submit to someone over Christmas break just because, hey, it's Christmas break and everybody is home. No, more than likely that's going to be lost in their email or in the mail. And do be aware of whether they want submissions to be sent to their email or whether that means physical copies being mailed to a specific PO box or address. When you're submitting to agents, make sure that you have all of the materials requested. Letters of recommendation, your headshots, your resume, your demo reel or clips, your cover letter, and any other information that they are requesting. Okay, so you submitted. You may not hear from them for weeks or maybe ever. Always assume if you don't hear from them that they just passed you. And that's okay, that's part of the industry. If that is the case, train harder, get better headshots, get a good critique on your materials, preferably from people who are in the industry. You don't want to ask your roommate who has nothing to do with it. Do not harass them, meaning don't send out follow-up emails asking if they got your materials. This is the best way for you to get blacklisted from their agency. And word travels fast. Number 10, so you heard back from them and they want to schedule an interview with you. Don't freak out. This is normal. They just want to get to know you as an actor, but also a person, and also make sure that you're not crazy. This is probably the time where they may ask you to perform those monologues, and they may also throw in a script or two for you to use your cold reading skills on. This is normal. They may not even want any of that. I know for my agency here in New Mexico, they just wanted to get to know me as a person and make sure that I wasn't crazy. And they didn't ask me to do any monologues. So that was great. Do take note that nothing is guaranteed, and you may run the risk of getting dropped from an agency at any time. Or you may even decide to fire your agent if they're not working out for you after a while. Do not stop going to your acting class. Now more than ever, you have to continue building your skills, because you're going to be auditioning a lot and getting rejected a lot. Make sure that you look over the contract that they give you. Don't ever pay an agent any money up front. This is not legitimate. A legitimate agent will only ask for 10 to 20% of every job that you book. They only get paid when you book a job and complete it. You're an independent contractor, so get familiar with that and know what to do when tax season comes around. A lot of the things that you are going to be spending money on are actually going to be considered business expenses for your business, and a lot of them can be written off. Don't take advice from me. Always ask whoever you do your taxes from about all of these things. But do keep track of everything that you're spending money on. It's completely normal for your agency to send you auditions right away after you've been signed by them, or take a couple of weeks to send you those first auditions. It really just depends. Always understand what the audition is asking. If you don't speak Spanish, Tony, do not submit for a job that says that you speak Spanish. I hate when actors do this. Not only does it take away from opportunities from actors who do speak Spanish, it humiliates you and it ruins your reputation. And why would you want to be cast on a project where you're clearly not a bilingual Spanish speaker and the audience can see that? That's embarrassing. Be prepared to audition and get rejected so many times before you book a job. Also, keep a bag with a couple of different outfits in your car just to be prepared. And also be ready to constantly print out resumes, update, and also print out headshots to have with you. You always want to go to each audition, even if they don't tell you to. You always want to have a resume and headshot with you. Keep them in your car. There you have it. I hope that if you follow all of these tips and advice, and if you start in 2022 with this mentality, that hopefully and probably in a year, you'll be ready to submit to an agency and start a career in acting. Okay, and these are just some last minute tips that I want to tell you about. Remember, rules are meant to be broken. And nobody in this industry, nobody knows who the next big thing is going to be. They don't know what they're going to like until they see it. So once you feel confident and you've been auditioning a lot, break a few rules. There's so many cases of actors who broke rules in their audition tapes and booked a job. Don't be scared to take some risks. Be very cautious of people in the industry who are selling workshops and classes on everything from what to wear to an audition, what type of underwear I wore and booked a job, how to cry on command, what your type is. Be very cautious. This industry is full of scam artists and predators. Yes, learn from people who are in the industry and have been there for a while, but also be very cautious of people who don't have anything to prove, haven't really been working in the industry, popped out of nowhere, are asking for a lot of money up front for some bogus workshop, and just don't have your best interest. Make your own content. It took me years to finally start this YouTube channel, mostly because I was scared and I had imposter syndrome. This is a really hard and competitive and abusive industry, and you have to have that heart-to-heart with yourself at some point about whether or not you are meant for this journey. I can't tell you how many times I threatened to just quit and go to law school, only to find myself halfway studying through the LSAT, coming back to this industry because I love it. Anything from clothes to makeup to transportation, headshots, classes, you name it. Anything related to expenses from your acting business can be used for your taxes. Network and make sure to sign up for workshops that are put on by casting directors. This is different from the other sketchy people because you actually want to be on the radar of casting directors who are casting projects that you want to be a part of. And lastly, make sure that you have a life outside of acting, whether that's a hobby, you hang out with friends or your family, you're doing karaoke, you're writing. Make sure that you do that. It's gonna keep you sane, it's gonna build your life experience, and it's gonna keep you grounded. And if you're not having fun and you're miserable, get out of it. And with that, what are you still doing here? Go, go, go! Go start researching the acting classes that are in your area, or start a spreadsheet and make a plan on when to move and what you will need to do to move. I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.